Today we are going to talk about, talk with actually a couple of our students who got admitted to their MBA programs of their choice. And this is more of a panel discussion where we ask them questions. And you will get to hear directly from them what has been their experience of application, joining, and their journey till now. Let me start by introducing myself. I am the head of MBA and grad application counseling and a test prep instructor at EduSmith. I have an MBA from HEC Paris, and I'm also a certified strengths coach from Gallup. Just to give you a slightly more in-depth background, we at EduSmith, we have quite a few counselors and test prep instructors who are actually experienced, not just with the entire process, but also have taken the test themselves and have scored really high on these tests themselves. When I took my GMAT, I scored 99 percentile on it, and that's why I feel that I am in a position to give a bit of advice. I also have a bit of a teaching background. But before I became an application counselor, I also have quite a few years, actually, more than 14 years of experience in the corporate world. I have worked in project management and change management and IT consulting. Now that I have introduced myself, let me take you to the panelists. Yeah. So first, we have Tiger with us. Tiger, why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, thank you, Miss Manisha. Just to briefly introduce myself, my name is Tiger. I got into three admitted MBA programs, both in US and UK. Those are like Imperial College London's, University of Texas at Austin's, and Georgetown universities. And so far, I graduated from a BBA program in Chulalongkorn University's ID 59. So I'm not sure if some of you might be familiar with me. Apart from that, I have 4 years of experience, 3 years in consulting at Conferry, and another year in tech service companies at Lyman Mongnai. So that's briefly about myself.
Thank you, Tiger, for joining us today. And our next panelist is 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝. So 𝐀𝐝𝐻, why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, Manisha. My name is 𝐀𝐝𝐻𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝, and I got admitted into 2 universities, both MBA program at Oxford University and Imperial College. I have been studying in my bachelor degree in Bachelor of Economics at 𝐏𝐚𝐭𝐡𝐰𝐵 University. After graduated, I have been working in investment banking industry for around 3.5 years, then moved to education industry until now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking time out today to share your experiences with us. Before we get on to the questions and answers with both 𝐀𝐝𝐻 and Tiger, I would like to very briefly take you through some of the things that are very important in your MBA and other grad applications. Number one, of course, is the scores that you have. When I say the scores and the numbers, what do I mean by that is, what is your university GPA? How much have you scored in your GMAT or GRE? To a certain extent, how much is your score in the English language test? And if you have other academic qualifications such as CPA and CFA, or even PMP, all of these actually play a role. But how big a role they play, that is the question. So when I introduced Tiger and 𝐀𝐝𝐻𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝, you might have thought that both of them because both of them got admitted to really prestigious programs, and you would have thought that they would have really high GPA and really high academic scores, which might be, it depends on how you look at it. But for both of them, for 𝐀𝐝𝐻, for example, his GPA was not something that he was very comfortable with while he was applying. But his GMAT score, on the other hand, was 94 percentile. So what I want to bring to your notice and bring to your attention is that if one of your scores is something that you're not very proud of, something you're not very comfortable with, there are other ways to enhance it. And yes, GMAT and GRE is one way to enhance it, but the other way, for example, for Tiger, the GPA was also close to 3, and the GMAT score was also 80, 80 percentiles, 625 out of 800, 805, if I remember correctly. And even then, he got into Imperial, which is one of the top schools in the world, top colleges in the world. So, which means that, yes, scores matter. I'm not saying they do not matter. Numbers really do matter. But what matters eventually in the end is your stories and your profile. And how do you, what kind of experience, what kind of knowledge, and what kind of contribution do you bring to the school that you're applying to? So, and how do you show the school that, you're going to bring these contributions? You show them through your past university activities, your past work experience, your past volunteering, extracurriculars, sports activities. All of these actually build up the profile a lot more than the scores do. And again, I have to say this, and I'm sorry for repeating this over and over again. I'm not saying that the scores do not matter. They do matter. They do play a role in your application. But what matters more is the stories that you want to share with the admission committee. I have talked about how to boost all of these, but let's say that you have a low GPA, or you have a low GMAT or GRE. What I would recommend is maybe think about taking extra courses. Maybe think about, there are so many MOOCs online, there are so many platforms like Coursera, Udemy, Skillshare. There are so many platforms where you can take courses from reputed universities nowadays and show your contribution, show your enhancement of the score through those courses too. That will also help you to boost the numbers aspect of your profile. Okay. From the stories, I have already talked about what can you share, your extracurriculars, your work experience, but I would like to bring your focus to something that is the most important in your application, which is your short-term and long-term goals. When we start working with candidates at EduSmith, this is the number one thing that we do. We start looking at who the candidates are, what their background is, and immediately after, based on their background, we move on directly to their short-term and long-term goals. Because when you look at, when you ask any admission officer, anyone who's sitting on the admission committee for MBA or other grad programs, all of them say one thing. One thing is common across all applications, which is if your goal isn't solid enough, if your goal isn't clear enough, and if the schools cannot see how are they going to help you with the goals, it's kind of difficult for you to get admissions. So goals, clarity, your motivation, where do you come from? Why do you want to pursue this goal and not something else is going to be the most important part of your application. Okay, so with that, I am starting the panel. The reason that you're here, the reason you're here is to hear from 𝐀𝐝 and Tiger both. So let's start with Tiger. Tiger, what reasons led you to pursue the MBA? Why did you choose MBA?
Oh, thank you, Ms. Manisha. For these questions, I believe the reason that I decided to pursue the MBA program at this stage of my career is that I feel that so far in the past 4 years, I have been working in different industries and roles. It comes to the point that I feel that I would like to move on to the next phase of my life. I would like to return to my family business, and I feel that's like in the past 4 years has been like very much great learning opportunities. I would like to put myself in the very different learning environments, and that's I feel that's it will be the optimal places for me to bring in like the innovations or the knowledge from most prestigious programs and bring back to the family business as well as the transforming into my next long-term goal.
Excellent. That's one of the primary reasons a lot of students actually join too. What is your opinion? Why did you choose MBA program?
Okay, for me, I think my career path that my longer term goal, which I wanted to be a CFO of a public company in Thailand, right? Having an MBA is a plus for that opportunity in the futures, as well as I was offered by a offer for a MBA scholarship by a company. So I think that is another main reason why I choose to pursue an MBA now, since I think the financial part also play a significant role in this decision.
Exactly. You have the opportunity to avail of a scholarship, which is one of the very important factors too, and we will come to that in a bit. But just to build up on what you both have said, MBA is a very good program for you to enhance your career, but also network more and develop some of the professional skills. Most importantly, though, it's a program where you get exposure. Okay, and when I say exposure, it's both in terms of getting exposed to a lot of different ideas and people, but also getting exposed to a lot of different concepts and frameworks and tools that you might not have had before. Okay, my next question is to you, Get. How did you decide between US, UK? In your case, you applied to both the countries. So how did you decide where to apply?
I think for me, mainly it's not about which country, but more of which university that I want to get into. In terms of some might feel that USA have like more prestige university in terms of MBA comparing to the UK, right? But I think for me, there's other reasons as well. Since I got a scholarship, the term of the courses is food impact, the term that I need to come back and work for that company. So I think I prefer kind of a shorter courses, which give me more like freedom in the future. Yeah.
What about you, Tiger? How did you decide? I know that you also applied and in fact got into the schools in both the countries. So how did you decide where do you want to apply?
I think this question is the factor that each individual take into account is very much different. For me, I applied to both US and UK universities, and in my case, it was that I don't have the limitation constraints or like the times or like the financial investments. So it's open up like so I see it as like opportunities for me to choose from a broader choice. And that's how I decided to apply to both. But yeah, again, it's might different from each individuals. Like for example, Pickett has mentioned like he has different criteria taking into account.
Yes, it is a very personal decision. You're right. As both of you said, both of you had different criteria. For Get, it was a shorter duration, and for you, it was, where do you want to go to? In fact, both of you said it was more to do with the kind of school rather than the location. One more thing that I do want to add is when you decide where you are applying, I would also say maybe country doesn't matter as much as long as the school is a good fit for you, the program is a good fit for you. But sometimes it does matter, the location does matter if you want to gain experience in a particular field. Like for example, if you are interested in getting into finance, then maybe London is a better place for you than California is. Or if you want to get into marketing, then maybe go to go to France, especially if you want to get into luxury marketing. And luxury marketing is where France and Italy, the schools in France and Italy really shine. So take into account what exactly is your long-term goal and how does the location fit with it. Don't get stuck into, the climate is really good in California. Don't get stuck with that. I personally would say that might not be the best way to decide. Okay, moving on to a third question. Can you tell me when you started looking for universities, what factors did you consider and how did you compare all these different options? Some of it you did mention, but if you can elaborate a bit more on that.
Okay, sure. For me, first that I just mentioned in the previous question, right? The duration of the courses of this MBA course. Each university can vary from like 12 months until like 24 months, right? That would affect my decision as well. Apart from that, the thing that I look into the university that I apply is the flexibility is that the course can give. How many electives that I can choose, which I can customize to align with my post MBA goal, right? And then apart from that, I think we need to accept that the ranking also matter for me. Yeah, I think, and most of the one who preparing for MBA also looking at the courses. Yeah, I think this is kind of a three main reason I consider for applying each university.
And all three of them, I would say, are also very important. What about you, Tiger? Do you have anything to add to it? What was your criteria when you started choosing your schools?
First, I believe ranking is one of the most important factors, as everyone has mentioned. But apart from that, I would like to highlight another factor that I believe as importance, which is like the school fits the school values that and like the environment, the learning environment that the school offers. When you look deeper into the school research and all that, you will see like each of the schools have different cultures, different set of values that they put on. And I believe it's 2 years. It's going to be like quite long times, and putting yourself into the places that you feel most fit with, it's going to allow you to have the best of learning opportunities during those times.
Exactly. Yes, I would also say that like Get said, duration is important, the ranking is important, but I also feel that the fit is probably very, very important too. Just to add on to what both of you said, what I would also add is the cost. Okay, so the cost is also an important factor because you should know whether you will get the return on your investment or not. An MBA is a very costly degree, extremely costly. So if you're putting in those many resources, and by resources, I mean not just money, but also, a year or two of your time. So if you're putting in those many resources, you should get a good return on investment. And another thing that is quite important also is the diversity that the school brings. If the school is a place which attracts students from all over the world, you are going to benefit a lot from those diverse perspectives. So that should also be one of the criteria while you choose your school. Okay, Tiger, the application process, as you know, you have gone through it, has so many different things. It has the CV, it has the interviews, the SOP or the essays. It also has the video assessment that both of you had to prepare for. So how did you handle all of these things together?
Well, I believe the key success factors for handling those various tasks that you have in the application most effectively would come down to like you have a proper plannings, proper like schedules and timelines. When you have those in mind, you will know like the exact timing or the pace that you have to go into in each of the components, and that's will help you to prepare those more like in the proper sequence, and I believe this help a lot in terms of the quality of the works that you're going to deliver out.
What about you, Get? How did you manage all these factors, all these different kinds of things that you have to get ready for the MBA?
Okay. Since I totally agree with what Tiger said, right? And since we're both working full time during preparing for this thing, I think one of the key factor that affect the preparation the most is kind of discipline, where you need to commit it to this process. You need to give it. It's not just like you put in 10 hours one day and it would reflect in a successful result, right? I think if you put in like 3 hours a day, like for 4 days, this might have much more impact in just putting a huge amount of hour, but not having a discipline. And I think also with I think I need to thank EduSmith as well, since with you, Manisha, helping setting up like the schedule. I felt that I have liabilities to someone else, not just me. If I didn't prepare for those stuff and I come and meet you, I would feel guilty, right? Different from if it's planning with just myself and I miss that, I can say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, I think there's another person that kind of guiding us, kind of play a main role for this as well.
That's actually very accurate. When you have someone to report to, if someone is actually behind your back to get something done, even if you don't get it done that time, you will probably get it done much faster than when you only have yourself as someone who's accountable for it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, go ahead, Ty.
Apart from having the accountable responsibility to meet, I also believe the advice that we get, having someone to speak to or seeking opinions, second thought opinions, it's really help a lot in managing those different tasks that we have at times. Just to add on.
Yeah, that's also right. If you have someone else, you can do it yourself too. It's completely doable by yourself too. Having a mentor or a counselor helps you set goals and set deadlines. And the school also gives you a deadline, but that's like the end where you have to get things done. And if you have to do it by yourself, then you should give yourself deadlines for every task in the application. And if you have someone else to hold you accountable for those deadlines, then it becomes slightly easier. What I would also suggest is prioritize some of your tasks. Most of you who will be applying for an MBA will be like Get and Tiger, who both of you were working full time. And of course, work sometimes is hectic. There are certain priorities that you have to take care of. So in that case, prioritizing certain tasks over certain other tasks also kind of helps you manage all these different components of the application. Moving on, Get, do you have any tips? What sort of suggestions would you give to people who want to write their essays, especially, the personal statement where you have to share your motivation, where you have to share your goals? How should we even start developing that story?
I think for me, different university look for different stuff in their candidate, right? But I think the only tip that I can give for this question is for me is honesty. Since if you being honest about the statement that you're writing and everything else, you could repeat this as much as you want, because at the interview, the interviewer gonna ask you question related to those stuff that you write anyway. So if you're being honest, you can directly answer that when they ask you again.
That probably sums up exactly what I would say too. What about you, Tiger? What do you think are some of the important tips for people who are starting to write their personal statements?
Piquet mentioned about honestly, which I totally agree. What I would like to add on is what I see it's something that a lot of people make mistake on, including myself during the first few months. It's that a lot of people try to write their essays or personal statement in the most refined language, which I believe even it's another important aspects. I believe it's different priorities. It should be at the last of after you have like all your story connected. And when you start writing, it's all each of us will have a lot of story to tell. And I believe what it's very important is how to choose those stories to be to be written within like just a limited space that we have, and how to connect those stories in the most compelling ways to tell the schools about ourselves.
Yes, it is, both of you mentioned authenticity, being honest with who you are. It's actually very, very important. As I said, I would also, my number one advice would be the same. When you have done that, then just make sure that you are reflecting on your experiences. You are going a bit deeper into what your story taught you. And being authentic is very important. However, being passionate is also very important in the essays. Okay? I'm sorry for the background noise that you can hear, if you can hear anything. Okay, moving on to the next question. How early do you think people should start preparing for their applications? Tiger, if you can weigh in on that first.
As someone who I myself start early, so I was someone who benefit from starting early preparations. Having like when you're starting to apply for MBAs, as we have mentioned, like there are a lot of components, a lot more than I myself has expected, and each of those will take quite some times. And when you have like more times, I feel that you have more time to reflect upon yourself and prepare the materials in the way that you can deliver in qualities. So if you ask me, I would totally recommend that starting early would be best advice that I could give. Even like when you're not preparing to start on the profiling yet, I still suggest that you still can start on like the GMAT or the testings, which can take quite a few trials to get the result that you expect.
That's very true. What do you think, Ed? How does early application preparation help?
Okay, this for me personally is the question that one of the what if for me, right? Since I only start this process like around like 6 months before applying, and it is like a really tough time, since this 6 months I need to start GMAT from zero, and even writing like nearly 20 essays within the period of 6 months, and then also take the IELTS. I think early preparation would give you like less stress and have more time to consider many things about yourself, know your own weakness and stuff. So I think if my own recommendation, right, is if you think you need like 1 year or a set period of time for preparing for MBA, I think double that amount would be a good amount for you to like prepare yourself. Yeah, so you have like a cushion period of time that could help you if something like unexpected happen. Yeah, that's for me.
That's actually very true. That's a good trick. And like Tiger said, he benefited from starting early. I would also say that starting early is quite helpful, especially both of you also mentioned in the previous question about authenticity and honesty and deep reflection in your essays. And when you want to show that, it takes time. It takes time to actually look inside your own very superficial experiences and see what exactly matters to you. So that's why if you don't want to be overwhelmed with, with doing 15 different things at the same amount of time, in the same amount of time, and also managing your professional responsibilities, managing home, managing your social life. Although I have to say that if you're applying for MBA, maybe put your social life on hold for a few months, because it is a very involved process. But winning essays, whatever essays actually get selected, those kind of essays take time to write. Someone had very accurately said that the best essays are not written, they are rewritten. So you cannot sit in one night, like get said that, you cannot put one day, 10 hours effort and get a good application done. It's not possible. It's not possible at all. So starting early is very, very important, in my opinion, too. When you were taking these standardized tests, both of you actually had to take both IELTS, TOEFL, as in the English language test, and also take GMAT too for your applications. What kind of tips do you have for both these tests? So, Tiger, would you give us a bit of an idea?
To score in like the standardized test, or based on my personal experience, I believe those are two parts. First one is like the mastery of the subjects, like how well do you read, how well do you do your math. A lot of people already know the importance of this part and put a lot of effort into it. But what I would like to highlight out is another second aspect that a lot of people oversee, is that like mastering the exam, like how you manage your times, how you strategize your exam approach, especially like the GMAT test, for example. They have like very limited amount of times, and how you address each of the questions, it's totally like personal. You can choose to skip like the on the topic that you're not very good at and still score like very high. I have myself like first few trials on GMAT, I score did not as high as I expect, but after like mastering on like the exam part, like how I manage my times, my score has improved significantly. So that's might be my one suggestions on this.
What about you, Get? You got a very high percentile on GMAT after preparation, but I also know that it was quite hard for you to prepare because you were also working full time.
Yeah, I think same as like the previous answer. I would say like firstly is discipline. I spend like 2 to 3 hours every day after work, like reading this, and then I like get rid of all of my hobbies. Saturday and Sunday, GMAT would like be my new hobbies, even though like I didn't like it. And yeah, so for this thing, I think the thing that I wanted to share is I think you need to know that what are you good at and what is your weakness, especially for GMAT, so that you can prioritize your studying materials. And as one of the very good thing that I done is I think having a short note on every question that you got wrong. I put it on a post-it and then stick it into my wall and reread it before like I sleep or something like that. Yeah, I think that's and also doing like a lot of mock exam that could build up your stamina, since doing one GMAT test is kind of exhausted. Yeah, so if you have like a lot of stamina, you could do like the later question better than if you didn't practice on like a ton of mock. Yeah, that's for me.
That's both of you actually brought up very important points. Like Tiger said, it's very important to focus on the concepts, but not just the concepts. These are the concepts that you would have probably learned in your high school. So the concepts themselves, although important to revise, are not the main thing. Like Tiger said, you should know the exam. You should know what you're getting into. And actually, Get also said that this is, taking the mock tests is one of the ways to know the exam and also build stamina. Because if you take enough mock tests, your brain actually is ready to be focused for that duration of time. And it helps in the actual test. So the only thing I would add over here is before you start taking the mock test or before you even start preparing, maybe take a diagnostic test. Okay? And that diagnostic test, it's a very good idea to do it. Maybe right now, MBA.com has free, there are 2 free practice tests that they offer for GMAT Focus Edition. And GRE also offers, ETS also offers a free mock test. So what I would suggest is use them as your diagnostic test. And that will give you an idea of where do you stand as of now with the concepts, with the time, with your mental stamina. You will know all of that when you take that diagnostic test and then create your study plan according to the results of that mock test. Okay, and this is something that I know that we have discussed a lot while we were working together. So MBA application is a very stressful process. It takes a big toll on all the applicants. So what were your strategies on dealing with stress?
Okay, I'm one of the person who deal with stress by like using it as a drive instead, right? So yeah, because I have a really limited time constraint on both the test and the application. But however, I did score my best on like both the last round of GMAT that I could take and the last round of IELTS as well. Since I'm kind of person that I think stress is one of the key driven factor that can make me focus more. Yeah, but for other, I think I'm not sure everyone deal with stress like differently. My offer would be like don't beat yourself up too much. It's like kind of a really tough process. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes it's a good thing. You actually framed the stress in a positive way. You used it as a motivator. What about you, Tiger? How did you deal with stress? Because I know that you were you actually changed your job in between the application process. So it was even more stressful to manage a new job and the application itself. So how did you deal with it?
Well, for me, I choose to see the stress. When I was stressed, I choose to see the things that I'm dealing with in 2 different parts. I choose to see one part as like the things that I could not control. I don't have like influence much on, and these are things that even though it might be the cause of the stress, there might be very limited things that we can do on it, and another part would be like the things that you could have influence or impacts into it. And this is myself where I put my focus on, and having this like revise or minimize things on my head, it's really helped me to know like what I'm going to do and organize it in the way that I feel that I can better manage, and that's all in all help to get me through those tough times.
That's also very important. Recognizing what is under your control and what is not under your control. And if you recognize and you accept things that are not under your control, it's slightly easier to manage stress. It will not eliminate it, but it will be easy to manage. You were saying something, Tiger.
And even like the result might not be the best that you could have expects. You know that you already put the best effort into the area that you could have influence on, and I have no regret on those effort that I have put in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And both of these are good strategies, reframing the stress into a positive thing, managing stress only if you can manage it, or accepting it that, this is beyond the scope of whatever you can have an influence on. Both of them are very important strategies. What I would also add is maybe take up some time to be a bit mindful. When I say mindful, it's we all lead stressful lives, especially if you're living in a city, if you're working full time, the stress is there. You really cannot escape it. And you add on the application process and your stress kind of doubles. So maybe just knowing that it's going to be stressful also helps, because knowing as in dealing with a known devil is always easier than dealing with something unknown. So you know what you're going to deal with. So what I would suggest is maybe start with a bit of mindfulness, focus on things that have to be done, create a timeline. And once you have all of that said, maybe take help from others, take advice from others. If it goes beyond your level of management, maybe come to us at EduSmith. But it would also help if you yourself are taking care of all the aspects of your life in a very detailed, disciplined way. Most of the times it helps manage the stress. Okay, 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝. You have gone through the process, you have been accepted into an MBA program, and you have also shared a lot of tips and tricks and advice in the past 45 minutes. What else would you like to add on as a parting advice to someone who wants to consider an MBA degree?
Okay, apart from all that mentioned in other questions, I think one of the things that I could add is for like compared with my profile, right? Is don't think that it is impossible for like getting into like top school MBA with a bad profile or stuff that you are thinking that it is not good enough. Like as Manisha mentioned earlier, my GPA is quite low, and but I could share that is at like 2.9, and then I have like a few D grade and also an F. So I think it's at first I doubt myself as well that with this grade for undergrad degrees will it like stop me from getting into a good university. Yeah, and also even with more of it with the time constraint, only 6 month preparation. If I think that okay, let's don't do this because it's impossible, I think I wouldn't have like wouldn't been sitting with you today. Yeah. So I think don't let yourself be like stopping you from getting into this process.
I 100% agree over there too. It's very important to be objective about what are your weaknesses, but it's also very important to look at the strengths. And you got into Oxford. Oxford is very picky with their candidates, especially with their academic profiles. So with your 2.9 GPA, they still considered your application and gave you an admission. So which means that, yes, it's something to be mindful of. You should recognize that it's something that you have to work towards, but it should not stop you from working towards it. Okay? What about you, Tiger? What is your piece of advice to anyone who wants to start their MBA application?
My one advice would probably be really know your goals before applying to the MBA programs. As mentioned, like investing into the MBA can be quite costly in terms of both like the financials and as well as like your times, and having like clear goal or like having like clear goal in mind, it's really helping on knowing that's what are you going to take and learn during those 1 or 2 years that you will have. And really it's having a clear goal. It's also helping on your like preparations, the essays, the SOP. It's going to be much more effective writing and about something that you already have like concept in your minds. So that's one thing.
And that's also very important. It's important to know what you can deal with, what you can't deal with, how much time you need to deal with it. Um, my advice over here would just be that know why you are doing your MBA, know your goals, and is it actually the program that will help you? If it is the program, and in a lot of cases, it is the program that will help you progress in your career or start your entrepreneurial journey, it helps in a lot of different ways. But be sure why are you starting your MBA application and MBA journey?
Hmm.
Okay. Tiger, do you have any study materials, especially for GMAT, since you took GMAT, and maybe even the English language test, if you have any study materials that you would like to recommend that you used, that you found helpful?
For GMATs, I would say that while there's a lot of materials available online, those are very good tools. But if you have like limited amount of times, the material that I would personally suggest or recommend would be like the ones from official GMAT itself. Those are like the material that have the question that are most related or similar to the actual exams. And they also have like the mock tests, which like have the most similar scoring system as well as the timing systems. Practicing on those help a lot on reducing the stress that you have on actual exams. Apart from that itself, I also use like the MBA.coms, which not just provide it's a panels for like a lot of students who interested into taking like the GMATs to share like their experiences and insight that they might have and this platform like it's really helped me to feel engaged and exchange my opinions with someone with similar interests and yeah, you can try on those two. I believe these two tools personally work best for me.
Excellent. What about you, Get? What would you suggest? What would you recommend as study aids?
The study aid I would recommend is all the mock exam online, which the one that I think provide the most with not not so costly is Expert Global. I think since the official mock that Tiger mentioned is limited and only you can retake it only once. Yeah, so I think you need to find more mock that you could do, and I think Expert Global provide kind of what might be one of the best for me in terms of the quantity. Yeah.
Excellent. How about your English language test? Did you use any specific resource for it?
Yeah, I use Ignite. Since for the whole process, I didn't enroll in any tutoring, right? I just brought the material and study myself. Yeah, so for my English test, I use Ignite, and I think it's work quite well since I took only 3 weeks to got like IELTS of 8.0. So I think it's kind of it's improved a lot from my first test.
That's exactly. So both of you recommended really good materials. Yes, official guides are important. They're a very good source of questions, practice questions. GMAT Club is a very good resource. Ignite is a very good resource for English language preparation, test preparation. And Experts Global is, in my opinion, too, provides a very good value on their mock test. They have a set of mock tests that you can buy in bulk. So that also helps. Apart from that, if you think that the only reason, both as in, I know that you prepared on your own, but if you feel like that you need help, and there are only two reasons, in my opinion, there are only two reasons you would need help. Number one is that you're not very comfortable with the concepts that are tested. So you will need a tutor to help you with the concepts, understanding of the concepts. Or number two, you are okay with the concepts, but you don't have the discipline to create your own study plan. In that case, also a tutor helps. So if you feel like you lack one of the two things or both, in that case, you can also get in touch with EduSmith for our tutoring services. Okay. what are you most excited about? Both of you are, it's just a month now that you will start on your MBA journey. What are you excited about? Tiger, what are you most excited about right now?
Well, in the month to come, I'm going to London to attend Imperial College, London MBA programs. This really feel like I'm really much excited since it's 4 years since my last like studies in the like classroom environments. I feel that it's another important phase of my life where I will have a chance to put myself into a very much different environments. I will be totally living with totally strangers and absorbing like all the things that I might not see on my routine or the everyday life now. So it's pretty much exciting opportunities that I will have in the upcoming months.
All the best. What about you, Get? What are you excited about?
I think since I never been living like for a long period of time at abroad, right? This would be my first time. I think that's excited me as well. And the thing I look forward to is like all the stuff that I could learn and bring back to use for my like future goals because I think this is kind of a last long holiday for like because after we graduate from like bachelor degrees we need to work for like 40 years, right? And this would be like my last long holiday, like 1 year break. Yeah, like doing what I really want to do, not working all the time, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm so sorry to break it to you, Get. But yes, you might view it as a holiday, but it's a lot of hard work. You will have to, during the day, you will have to attend classes. In the evenings, you will have to network and attend clubs and events and workshops and seminars, and you will be conducting a lot of those too. So it will be it will be fun. Yes, it will not be a holiday, but it will be a lot of fun. And what you said, Get, about, living in a new country, that is exciting. It also opens up your mind to so many different things when you visit a country as a visitor, as a tourist, versus when you live over there for an extended period of time. Okay, so I'm also very excited for you, for your journey. And Tiger, when you said that you're going to live with strangers and that's going to be, knowing them, these are the strangers who at the end of the year will become your best friends. On that note, on that very happy, exciting note, we will end the panel over here and we will open this floor to the questions. I think we already have a few questions, so let me try to bring that up. So the first question is, how will I know that this is the right time for me to pursue an MBA or even a master's degree? Do you have any opinion on this, Get?
I think for me it's hard to answer, right? Because for me, as I said, I just got offer for the sponsorship last year, so I think I know it's now whatever average age of MBA is like 29 and I'm 29 now, so I think if I'm not going now, I won't go for master degree anymore. Yeah, but I think for others, in my opinion, is like if you already feel like really good about what you do at your work and want new challenges or want to move like to other different industry, I think that might be a good sign for like master degree for you.
Yeah. The next question is, what do you think is the most important thing for people who are still unsure whether to continue their studies or, they're still deciding? It's kind of a similar question that, should you go for your master's or not? But this is more towards people who are still studying. So, Tiger, do you have any response to this?
Sorry, can I have the question again? Like, how is it different from the, like, can I have the question again, please? Sorry.
Yes. The question is, what is the most important thing if you're still unsure for MBA? Maybe you're still studying. You don't know whether you want to go for MBA or not. Then in that case, if you're unsure, what are the factors to consider?
Myself, before deciding into pursuing like MBA programs, I really asked myself like, what would I like to achieve from those programs? It's either when people decided on this, it's of course it's a lot of investments. When people decided on this, they either pursue like the different careers, different industries, or the same industries but going up higher in the rank, or totally completely new career plans. For example, myself from corporate attending into like the family business. So when you were really clear on these questions, like what you expect from those programs and how would this program help you to achieve those goals, I think for me it's totally up to like each individual of us. Some might have different constraints or limitations, but if those answers were answers, those questions were answers, it's no limitation for me.
I agree. Both of you actually, in the previous question was also quite similar. I kind of agree with, if you're unsure, okay, let me change, frame the question a bit differently. If you're unsure, there are still a couple of things you can do. What you can do is take your GMAT or GRE, because those scores are valid for 5 years. So even if you are not ready right now, or you're not sure right now, you would have done one thing, which is kind of, most time consuming, and you would have done that, you would have that out of the way. And then reflect on how would the MBA help you? Is the location going to help you? Are the alumni going to help you? Is there any way that you can do that without putting in so much time and effort, okay, and money? So if you can do what you want to do without putting in that time, effort, money, then maybe MBA is not the right path for you. However, most of the times, MBA is something that will help you grow in your career quite significantly. And like Tiger said, also change your career if you want to pivot your career from one direction to another direction. And in my opinion, it also kind of gives you sort of a branding if you're going to a top school, like, Get and Tiger are going to the top schools. If you're going to a top school, if you'll always be an alumni of a top school, then your credibility in the industry increases a lot. So that is something that you might want to consider if you're unsure. Okay. The next question is, what is the academic challenge level of an MBA compared to other business master's degrees? Maybe I can answer that question, because both Get and Tiger have applied for MBA and have not started their MBA yet. So the academic challenge of MBA is actually quite similar to other business master's degrees. It is very challenging. And the reason it is very challenging is not because the subjects are very difficult. There are two reasons. Number one, the subjects are very varied. They are very different from one another. When in your undergraduate degree, when you were studying, maybe you took a major or a specialization, and most of your subjects were from that specialization. But when you're doing your MBA, you will have a subject on strategy, you will have one on finance, you will have one on human resources, organizational behavior, accounting, marketing. So you are supposed to learn all those things. Okay? So since it's so wide, it's so varied, it becomes challenging. And the second reason it is challenging is because you are required to not just attend classes and get good grades in the classes, but you're also required to do networking after it. You are supposed to be part of as many events that you can be part of. And it's not just a requirement from the school, it's also a requirement that you should have for yourself. Because like Get said, this is probably the last time you will ever be in college. So this is the last time you will ever be in college, maybe make the most of the opportunity over there. And since there are so many opportunities, it becomes hectic to deal with the academic aspect of it too. And maybe a bonus third reason why this is going to be challenging is you might have done it already in your undergraduate degree, being a part of group. So most of the subjects, most of the assignments are group assignments and in MBA. And if you cannot work well with your group, then it's going to be extremely challenging to get good grades. Okay. The last question that we have is directed to 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝. One of our participants would like to know more about the scholarship that you got.
Okay. I think if you want me to answer in Thai, like you could let me know, since it's kind of detailed, right? But okay, I'll try to answer first. As much as I can tell, since this kind of stuff is kind of
You can
confidential.
answer it in Thai. That's okay.
โอเคโอเคก็ถ้าเรื่องทุนนะครับ ก็จริงๆแล้วถ้าทำงานแล้วครับ ทุนก็จะมีค่อนข้างหลายที่เลยอย่างตัวพี่เองคือพี่ทำงานสายการเงินแล้วกันครับ เป็นเหมือนแบบ investment banking มันก็คือหลายๆที่จะมีเป็นแบงก์นะครับ แบงก์ใหญ่มีทุนให้เกือบทุกที่เลยครับ ถ้าเกิดเราทำงานมีให้ทั้งทุนคนนอกและคนในด้วย ก็คือถ้าเราทำงานมาสักพักหนึ่งแล้ว ก็คือแบงก์ใหญ่ก็คือมีแอปพลายขอทุนไปเรียน MBA ได้ นอกจากนี้ก็คือพวกรัฐวิสาหกิจอะครับ เช่นปตท SCG อะไรเงี้ยครับเขาก็มีทุนให้เหมือนกัน แล้วถ้าท็อปเทียร์ต่างประเทศเลยอย่างเช่น Big Three Consulting Firm เนี่ยก็มีทุนให้เหมือนกันนะครับ แต่ว่าทุนของแต่ละที่เนี่ยก็เทอมการใช้ทุนต่างกัน สิ่งที่ได้ระหว่างไปต่างกันใช่ แล้วก็ที่อื่นๆก็คืออาจจะยังมีอีกที่ที่พี่อาจจะไม่ได้ทราบ ไม่แน่ใจว่าตอบคำถามหรือเปล่า หรือว่าถ้าอยากได้ข้อมูลอะไรเพิ่มเติมก็จริงๆทักมาถามแบบหลังไมค์ก็ได้นะครับ เดี๋ยวหาส่งช่องทางติดต่อไว้ให้แล้วกัน เพราะว่ามันอาจจะดีเทลเยอะครับเรื่องพวกนี้เผื่อคนอื่นอยากทราบด้วย yeah
Yes, I hope that answers your question.
So
Thank you
sorry.
so much. And thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much, 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝 and Tiger, for spending more than an hour with us, answering all the questions. And I'm very, very happy that we had so many participants who were online with us. And also there are more people who will probably benefit from your answers later when we upload this entire video, this entire webinar. On a parting note, just want to let everyone know that this entire event was organized by EduSmith, and please let us know, give us your feedback on this QR code. We do want to if you want to reach out for a free consultation, please reach out to us for a free consultation. Our first meeting is always free, so you can get in touch with us, or you can follow us on any of our socials. Come and meet us at our office, and I would be very happy to to review your profile and to give you my opinion on what exactly would be beneficial for you. Okay, thank you again, 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐝. Thank you again, Tiger, for your time. And this is where we will end the webinar.